newest season of The Bachelor is out, and we have to talk about Grant. Okay, now listen, you guys. I was really on the fence about watching The Bachelor this season. Not because of Grant or anything, but sometimes I feel like you're put in this perfect setting, and then after they pick their person that, they choose, you go into the real world and it's, a shit show. It fails and whatever. And so I'm not a big fan of that. I like to see, The Bachelor try something different and they actually can try the real world, right? That being said, I'm like, I owe it to you to watch the show and see, is there any value that you can get from it? Right. And so there is, there really is, because I know I just work with so many women. I work with you guys. I hear from you guys in my community, the Jackie Loor. Make sure you follow me there. If you don't, I always put a lot of advice, inspiration, all those things. But one thing I love about The Bachelor, it gives you evidence that good men exist. I could tell, and you will tell, you could see he's genuine. He's honest. He has his heart on his sleeve. The way that he talks so vulnerably, he's really intentional. He's saying, I don't, want to be alone anymore. He talks about how his parents argued a lot when he was growing up and they got divorced when he was in college. And, he talks about what he really wants. He's saying, I want to find my wife. I want to have kids, and, it's interesting when you guys are on the dating apps and you guys are connecting with people and they're like, oh, what are you looking for? I don't know. I'll just see where it goes. And it's, it kind of gives you this impression, sometimes you're seeing these guys that are not just telling you, yeah, I want to get married. You're seeing over and over, these guys talk about, yeah, let's see where it goes. It doesn't feel intentional. It feels like actually a lot of you get stuck in situationships. And so this is why a big reason I want you to watch The Bachelor this season is to give your brain evidence of, oh my gosh, these kind of men exist, where they tell you from the very beginning, which, by the way, side note, Will, my husband of 17 years, he told me on our first date, we talked about it. And I asked him, what is it you're looking for? And he said, I definitely want to get married one day. I want to have kids. That's something that he loved, seeing his parents so in love, and he wanted to have kids. And that's a reason why him and his ex broke up, and she didn't want those things. These are questions you have to ask from the very beginning, as soon as you match with somebody or on a first date. And so I love that Grant shows up right from the very beginning into the house. The 30 women are there and he's like, oh, let me tell you my intentions. And I'm like, yes, thank you, Grant. This is awesome and refreshing. And this is awesome. And he says, yeah, I'm looking for my wife and have a family and build a family together. And so I love this for you. So yeah, that's a big part of it. The other thing is that I want you guys to see, they're like massive red flags for you to see, not in terms of what Grant is doing, but in terms of some of these girls. And so like massive green flags and massive red flags. So yes, the universe may want you to meet this awesome person, but you have the power to completely ruin opportunities that are given to you. Okay. So I feel like, someone who did amazing with that opportunity was Alexe. She was awesome. I love that she was like, you know what? I got advice to be myself, and that's what I'm going to do. And she is quirky and she is funny. And I think she works with kids. She's a pediatric nurse or something like that, with children at the hospital. So she has like, as soon as she starts talking to him, you could feel like she's just so genuine. She's funny. She has like this perfect balance of all these things. And you could feel the chemistry between the two of them. And like, spoiler alert, she's the one that gets the first impression rose. And I love that because, on the surface, when you're seeing everybody, first of all these women are gorgeous in their own way. Everyone's gorgeous, right? But I feel like when you see this girl, Alexe, and the way that she was, acting and her personality, you feel like someone may be quick to judge and be like, oh, she's not going to get the rose because she's too silly or she's too this or too serious. And what I loved about her, she's being authentic, and that authenticity was aligned to Grant. And they had like undeniable chemistry. They were just, and that's what I'm always telling you. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're listening on YouTube, because I'm telling you, best friend vibes is so important. And that's kind of what you feel when you're seeing them talk and they're just like leading in and cracking up. And honestly, that is so important. And so I loved that Alex was just herself, was fearless, was just like unapologetically her. And that was aligned with Grant. And at the end of the day, when you feel like, you know what, unwavering faith, the universe wants me to meet my person, I need to be myself. Because the more that you are yourself, that is going to attract the right partner. They're going to lean in and be curious. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with you. Like, you're crazy and I love it. Do you see what I'm saying? Versus, let me play it cool. Let me try to like not put my heart on my sleeve. Don't be too vulnerable. Like, don't be calculated. The more you can let go, of all of those things of playing the game and don't say this and don't do that. It's like, that's, let go of that. That is when you will attract the right partner. So Alex did just that. And it was such good evidence for you to like, and it encourages you to show up in your life authentically. Right. And so I just want to talk about like two other people. And actually, before I go into that, his sister came on and I like absolutely loved it. My twin is just dating somebody and I met him. And I'm telling you something, you guys, I can't tell you how important that is. And I should do a whole episode about it with her. But like, this is the first guy that truly she's gone on a date with, and I absolutely love. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because every time I go on a date with her and some other guy, I'm like, run. I'm like, I always ask questions and things come to the surface and it's awful and it's like a mess. And so this is the first guy that I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, he's awesome. He's so aligned to her. There's awesome chemistry between them. All the things are just so far aligned. So far I'll keep you updated on that one. But like, side note, back to what I was saying, his sister shows up on the show and I love that. And I think it's important for you to take that into consideration when you are meeting someone and chatting with them. If you had one first date, it's good to bring in your sibling. If you have a sibling, someone that you're close to, have them meet the person you're talking to. They can offer a different perspective. And that is gold. So I love that the sister is so adorable. I adore her. She's just so cute. And she was like, oh my gosh, these women are awesome. You have a hard task ahead of you, Grant. So she's not very like, oh my gosh, you have to pick this person. But she was already feeling excited for him and being super supportive. So back to something else I really want you to take away from this episode that you're listening to. You'll notice that there's someone there, Janae, that she also plays basketball. She used to play basketball like Grant. And so this is where I feel like a lot of you guys think, oh my gosh, like he has to be like, we have the same things in common. And I can't tell you enough, like, those kind of things don't really even matter sometimes. And so, he ended up saying bye-bye to Janae. And it's interesting because when you first see them and you first think, oh my God, she plays basketball and that's a big passion. That's like he said, that's his first love. But like that isn't enough. Like if you don't have chemistry with somebody, if you don't have other things that are aligned, which I think for them, they probably didn't have the chemistry, then bye-bye. Like that's it. Like you can't force it. You can't be like, oh, they have this one thing in common. That's not going to be enough. Right. And so I wanted you to take note of that. And I also wanted you to think about Carolina. She was on the show and she's from Puerto Rico. She was vulnerable and she cries. She ended up crying with him. And she was so cute about it. And she was kind of embarrassed. And I think that, you guys, I can't tell you enough. I always say this and I'm saying it again. Vulnerability is everything. I can't stress enough. Like when you show up with your heart on your sleeve, when you're vulnerable, that's when emotional connection happens. Like if that would have happened and he said bye-bye to her, I would have been shocked. Like when you see her, open up her heart and cry and Grant shows up for her, it only made them connect more. So I'm not telling you, oh, go on dates and start crying to everybody. It's not like that. But I really feel like it's important for you to be vulnerable, heart on your sleeve, trusting, ask questions, and when, show who you are, show what matters to you, who matters to you. And like, it's okay if you get emotional about it, because the right person will lean in and be there for you, and then only the wrong person is going to be like, ew, weird. Why are you crying? Like, seriously. And what's so funny? I was watching this other reality show, which has something to do with, I don't even want you to see that. It's just like one of my guilty pleasures. The guy on the reality show, it's one of the freaking Real Housewives. Anyways, I'm like in confession time now. I feel like I'm confessing to you. It was Potomac, and this guy tells a girl, "You're crying. What is this?" Like, has this super gross reaction to his girlfriend who he lives with when she's crying with him at a restaurant. I was so disgusted by that reaction. I was like, oh my God, this guy is so awful. And he's not supportive of her being on the reality show. Either way, the point is, his reaction speaks volumes. He's insecure, he's judgmental, his ego driven. It's not about her, it's always about him, all these things. And you see Grant on the other side, oh my gosh, showing up for this girl, and he's just crying, he's being supportive, a shoulder to cry on. Like, notice the difference, So it's like emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, communication, like listening. These are all qualities you have to want in your partner. Like, truly, if you think back at your exes, probably a big part of why it failed is they lacked emotional intelligence. And honestly, I know I lacked back before emotional intelligence. I didn't know what I was doing. And I do feel like, make sure that you're reflecting and seeing, how are you showing up? Are you communicating effectively? Are you listening? Are you an active listener? Are you empathetic? Do you have that kind of emotional intelligence? And so like, I feel like these are all great things for you to see in front of you. And like, if you are that, awesome. But then it's evidence for you to see that men also have these qualities. Maybe the guys that you've chosen don't have them or didn't have them, but there is an opportunity here for you to say, well, maybe I can start choosing guys that are like this. It exists. Oh my gosh, why have I been freaking like choosing guys that don't show up for me or listen or blah, blah, not emotionally intelligent. Okay. One last thing I have to tell you about. Stop. The girl Parisa, who talks about, she actually has a PowerPoint done. You guys, I thought she was so cute. I actually thought it was adorable. Now, would I recommend for you to do a PowerPoint like she did? She was like, this is us in a year. We're going to be married. She had like pictures of her in a wedding gown and Grant in like a tux. And this is us in like 3 to 5 years. Like, she's pregnant. Like, she actually has a whole PowerPoint. It was just so funny. And it's actually hilarious, but also cute. But I was on the fence because when he was giving out roses, she was like the last one to get a rose, and you're like wondering, oh shit, like maybe he's not gonna give it to her. But I actually really liked her. I thought she was funny, and she actually does kind of things like that with her friends, she said. So I like that she was showing up, like doing something that she actually does with her friends. She was doing that with Grant, because at the end of the day, your person is your best friend. You're gonna like want to do all the things you do with your best friend, you're gonna do with your partner. Right. And so like, I love those kind of things that Parisa did. I really liked her. I feel like if anything, if one note for her is like maybe to not be all like funny, and instead like, yes, it's funny, but also be a little bit more vulnerable. I think there was more room for that. And maybe the next date that she has, she'll do that. But you guys, after one episode, I'm already hooked. I actually really love it. I'm excited. let me know. If you're listening on YouTube, let me know in the comments. Are you going to be watching? Are you going to be seeing it? Let me know if any of this resonated with you. I want to know. Because I have to keep seeing it now. Now I'm trapped. Let me know if it resonates with you too. Thank you for listening. And remember, it has to be crazy love or nothing. Till next time.